Today I have Zenith's latest release. This is a very bold statement piece from the brand. This is getting a lapis skeletonized dial. All of the sub registers are just floating above a skeletonized El Primero movement with a 1/100th of a second chronograph. It's incredible. I have one hands on. Let's flip the camera and take a look at one of the most dialed up Zeniths that I have ever seen, the Zenith Defy Extreme Lapis. And here is the watch. There's nothing about this watch that is quiet, let's say. It's brash, it's bold, it's big, it's in your face. It does everything at 11. I think that's kind of what they were going for here. This is a Zenith Extreme with a lapis dial. So this doesn't really get a dial, it's skeletonized, but you are getting those sub registers in lapis. Very busy dial, applied indices, and then you have a minute track that is around the perimeter of the dial. That is not in lapis, that is in black. And then right outboard of that, there is another track that's for the 1/100th of a second chronograph. So that's where the measurement takes place. That's why the second hand on the chronograph is flying around. That's the 1/100th of a second hand. And then you also have a second hand at the 9 o'clock position. So that's why that's flying around so quickly. It's pretty damn cool. These are always fun to watch, and when you show someone who really doesn't know what this is, they are always surprised. This gets a very interesting case. This is all polished. When you turn it on its side, it is completely polished. So anything that you see in stainless steel on this watch is completely mirror polished. There are a few areas that are not. So this is a two-tone watch technically. So you can see there's the bezel right here. That is in gold, and then the pushers are also in gold. However, the physical pushers themselves are not gold. It's the structures that hold those pushers that are in gold. Anything that is in gold is media blasted or brushed. There is no polish on the gold. So kind of the opposite of what you see with most watches. And then you also get a bracelet with this watch, and the bracelet is pretty crazy. It almost looks like a disco ball. That's how I would describe it. It is so flashy. Like I said, there is nothing about this watch that isn't big and flashy. And this is definitely big and flashy. You have these very large screws in here. These are screwed links, obviously, but that's just functionality here. It's the design of this bracelet that is pretty crazy. Each one of the edges on those center links are polished. All of the edges on the bracelet, the side of the bracelet, everything is polished. So it reflects the light heavily. I will show it to you on the watch in just a few minutes or through photos so you can see what I'm talking about. It is pretty bright. I know it's a little bit silly, but I really love the sides of this watch. I know that sounds kind of weird, but when you turn it on its side, you get that gold and stainless steel look here, and the crown is very deeply engraved with their Zenith star. And then of course you have these really beautiful stylized buttons. They really do feel very nice when you press them, and you can see it's still flying around the dial, that second hand. Everything operates so smoothly, and the flyback is awesome. Everything feels very tight and crisp and precise, and that's because it is. Measurements on this watch, well, it really depends on how small your wrist is, if you could wear this or not. I have a 7.5 inch wrist. I think I could pull it off. I'll show it to you on my wrist in a few seconds with this strap on it and with the bracelet. Now, this is a 43.4 millimeter watch. If you measure it at the case, it's slightly larger, so that's at the bezel. It's just slightly larger at around 43.6 millimeters, but if you include all of the, I guess they're crown guards and also pusher guards, whatever you want to call this structure right here, it comes out much larger than that. It's almost like a 48 millimeter watch if you include all of that stuff. And then you have around a 51 millimeter lug to lug that's at the case, but if you include the bracelet, it's around 55 millimeters, somewhere in that range. And then you have around a 15 millimeter thickness. So this will not wear small on any wrist. It does look good on my wrist, but I have a 7.5-inch wrist, which is on the larger side. This is also powered by the El Primero movement, like I was saying before, a 1/100th of a second chronograph, and it's just fun to look at. When you flip it over, it's beautiful. You have that star rotor. It's all in a gray or a gunmetal finish is what I would say. So obviously the dial is skeletonized, so is the movement. One of the things that I really like about this watch, not only the details like this clasp right here with these giant pushers on here that are DLC coated. It's a butterfly clasp, really nicely made. It's very chunky to match the watch, which makes a lot of sense. You also get a really nice system on here for removing the strap. The strap is very easy to remove. There's a button here. You press the button, it comes right off. That's it. Normally, when I do something like that on camera, I practice it first to make sure that I could do it quickly. I don't have to do it with this watch. It is very easy. All you do is press that button and everything just comes right off. Now, there are a lot of other brands that you need to have fingernails to do it. You have to pull something or whatever it is. It's a little bit more complicated. Not that they're all that complicated to begin with, but if you want to do it without looking, this is a great system. It's probably one of the better systems that I've encountered. And to quickly show you, all you have to do to put it back on, well, to put the bracelet or the strap back on, there are these little tabs on each of the strap. You just put it into the two holes and press down, and that is it. The only problem with this watch is, one of the big problems with this watch is that you're going to need to carry around a polishing cloth. Because there is so much polish on this watch, you're going to continually need to give it a polish because you will get fingerprints on it. Let me quickly show it to you on my wrist. Before I do, I have another large watch on my wrist. This is my MB&F HM5. It is very large. It actually wears pretty big as well, but I love it on my wrist. I think it actually fits my wrist really well, and it doesn't go over the edges of my wrist, so it's actually pretty comfortable, I will say. It's the thickness that's a problem for this watch, but you can see there's already some scratches on it, and I've only had this watch for maybe 6 months. There are scratches on it because I do bang it against things because it is so thick. And there is the Zenith Extreme Lapis on my 7.5-inch wrist. And I gave it a quick polish, and it's really hard for me to turn my wrist without this falling over because it is not sized to my wrist. But you could see it is really, really shiny and will stand out a lot on wrist. This is something that is definitely a statement piece, I would say. You're definitely going for a very specific look if you like this watch. And I have to say, I actually really like this watch. I think it's very, very different. Something that a lot of brands aren't doing right now. They're going way for it here. This is dialed up to 11, like I was saying before. Look at that on wrist. I don't think it looks bad on my 7.5-inch wrist at all. Let me show it to you on the strap. And there it is on the rubber strap that it comes with, obviously an integrated rubber strap. And there is the clasp. It is very big, very chunky. And you have these little center areas to mimic the bracelet, so it wears almost exactly the same as the bracelet. I think it looks great on my 7.5-inch wrist. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. Well, there you go. It gets lume. So this is an extreme Defy Extreme, whatever they call it. So you are getting 200 meters of water resistance. You're getting lume. You can see that the lume is pretty bright for a major brand. Usually major brands don't pay attention to lume all that much. There is pretty good lume applied to those indices, and they are sort of floating above that skeleton portion. You can see that it's working because that second hand is flying around and it flashes over that lume, so you can see your watch is working in the dark. This is a somewhat of an expensive watch considering what you're getting here. Obviously, there is gold, lapis, it's a 1/100th of a second chronograph. So really, if this came from another brand, maybe like AP or something like that, it would be a lot more expensive. This is $33,900. Yes, that is a lot of money, but you are getting a ton of watch for that money. So whether or not you think this is appealing. I think some people will find this pretty cool. Some people will not. It is a very polarizing design, a very polarizing look, especially on the bracelet. When you have it on the bracelet, it will be very, very flashy. Off bracelet, on this strap, less flashy, but still pretty flashy. Even though they have media blasted the gold on here, it still is very bright on wrist and will reflect a lot of light. You also have that skeletonized movement, a lapis dial. It's just in your face. Like I said, dialed up to 11. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of this watch? What do you think of the Defy Extreme in general? One of my favorite Defys is the Defy Diver. I really want to get one of those in for review. I think those are awesome watches, especially the yellow version or the orange version. I know they've made a couple of different colors now, but those two I absolutely love. And one day I want to have a Defy Diver in my collection. And that is around the same size as this watch. So obviously I'm not scared of larger watches. This watch wears like a 45, 46 millimeter on wrist. You have to have a sizable wrist to pull this off. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. Please also don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel, and I very much appreciate it. I'll put a link to this watch down in the description below. Definitely check it out if you are interested. Anyway, guys, thank you for logging on. Thank you for watching this video. I will catch you guys in the next video.